This is Superhero Showdown. This is episode 9, and I have a big story, big show set up for you. First off, we're going to talk about the Justice League villain. The actor from Game of Thrones has been contacted. There's an article that I read through comicbook.com that they want. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but on Game of Thrones he is a big significant character. I remember him from Last Action Hero as the man with the eye. They want him to voice Steppenwolf, and I think his voice would lean very well towards being the voice of Steppenwolf, and I think it should be a very good differential for the role, and I think that he could lend like a sinister, old school feel to it. So I'm really good with that. I think it would be really cool to have him in that role of Steppenwolf. I think that'd be really cool. I don't know much about the character. I don't read as much DC as I do Marvel, so I can't really give a whole bunch of opinions. But what I am going to do is, right now I'm going to do a trailer reaction. I'm going to watch the Batman Killing Joke trailer. I have not seen this trailer before, so here, you guys can see my face better this way. So let's, right here on Superhero Showdown, let's get my opinion. Good animation style, very 90s.
I want to talk.
Kevin Conroy, awesome so far.
I've been thinking about you and me, about how this is going to end, about who will end up killing who.
Really good
Perhaps
animation.
you'll kill me.
I think
Perhaps I'll kill you.
some classic shots from the
You know
comic.
that, don't you?
I knew they weren't going to show that in the trailer.
Tell me what I'm doing here. You're going mad.
It's as dark as the comic was.
Why aren't you laughing? All it takes is one bad day.
Nice. Okay, so the trailer looks really good. The animation style for it, I think, is really good. It's a throwback to like the 90s, the Bruce Timm style. Looks like all the creepy stuff that was in the original comic is still there. You got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill reprising the roles from the 90s, so that looks really cool. It looks like they're actually going to make it R-rated, which is good because the comic subject material, which I'm not going to go into here, I've talked about it before, but it would probably be good to check out. I will give a review of it after I watch it. I think it comes out this month. It's either this month or the beginning of next month. It drops on Blu-ray and DVD, and I'll give you an opinion after I watch it. I think it's really good, though. My first time doing a trailer reaction, so let's have at it. I'm a huge Batman fan, and that's why I really like when they make Batman animated films and when they actually make good Batman animated films. It should be good. Next on the list is an interview that was dropped. I believe it was yesterday or today. Margot Robbie talked about the relationship between Harley Quinn and the Joker. Everybody was always wondering how in Suicide Squad are they gonna talk about Harley Quinn or the Joker, it's kind of like they have this connection that forces them to be pulled towards each other, and that's kind of the direction they're going with them. And a lot of people have really been asking how much screen time will they have together. Well, they probably should have more screen time than anybody else with the Joker because of the economy, the background. We also don't know if this is pre-Batman versus Superman, if this is after Batman versus Superman. But I think that, for one, they're not going to kill off the Joker. They're not that stupid. And Harley's going to end up with the Joker at the end of the movie to really exemplify Harley Quinn and Joker's relationship, because they've always had Harley as love struck for Joker, and Joker treats her like crap, like shit. And she just, but sometimes Joker pisses her off and she'll break his arm with a sledgehammer, or she'll tie him to a chair. So that could be interesting. One thing that a lot of people don't know is in the comics, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are now lesbians. So will they bring that into the movie universe? I don't think they will. But you never can tell with these movies. They can always go in different directions. A different direction here, a different direction there. It's always up in the air what they're gonna really do. But Harley Quinn and Joker, really good economy. Happy they're finally in the movies. I'm going to talk about Spider-Man Unlimited. For those of you who do not know, I am going to show you. So Spider-Man Unlimited is a mobile game that I've been playing for a couple years now. So, as you can see, there's some of the artwork. It shows you pictures, tells you things. This is all the opening stuff, and I'm going to go through this and actually show you some stuff on the game, because it is, for comic book related stuff, it's very good with storylines, really showcasing different Spider-Man, and you can click on any Spider-Man, you can get stuff. They've done The Inheritors, Spider Island, because right here you have your team like that, and let's just we'll just show you a couple of them they have in here. Like, for instance, okay, there's an Agent Venom one. There's a lot of different Spider-Men that are in here, like ones I didn't even know about. Like, there's Spider-Man India, and it's a running game. So what you're constantly doing is just running, swipe back and forth, but what it does is you can unlock costumes, and there's missions you can do, or there's specialty missions. But to a lot of people, invest a lot of time into the Spider-Man game. I have about 2.5 years I've been playing this, and it's a decent game. I like it. It gets frustrating somehow, because every game has hacking people in here. But for some people, it's how they're learning about Spider-Man. Like, oh cool, it's Spider-Man, but then they don't realize there's this whole mythology to Spider-Man, villains, costumes, different iteration, Cosmic Spider-Man. They did a whole storyline with Spider-Pig, Spider-Ham, Pork Rind. where you find like a chicken Green Goblin. They brought Ghost Spider into it. You have a lot of people are waiting for the symbiotes that they've teased a couple times. So it's a really fun game that you can play, and it's on the Android and the iOS right now. So you can, I'm trying to get the light out of here. There we go. So it's really a good game, I think, so it would be good for people to check out. Also this week it was announced that, I don't know the actor's name, but he played Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies. He's been cast as Flash. And some people said, is he going to be an alternate universe Flash? Could he be a new villain or what? It'd be good for him to be in there, get some more acting roles. I don't think he's going to be a new Flash. I couldn't really tell you a whole lot. I'm not a big Flash person, which is going to go into our next topic. Superhero shows, the good ones and the bad ones. Now, first off, I will say that, like, I used to watch Smallville. I watched Arrow when it first started. The first 2 seasons were good. I lost interest in Flash. Supergirl, I only watched the first 2 episodes. I didn't really care for him. I really like Preacher. I don't like Gotham either, because Gotham it seems like they're throwing too many villains in right off the bat that Batman didn't know until he was older and already Batman. In the show, he's a kid. He's like 12 or 13. It's more about Commissioner Gordon, but you've already had Black Mask Catwoman, the one who will become the Penguin, the one who will become the Riddler, somebody who's going to become the Joker. You have Hugo Strange in there already. All these people that in the Batman timeline doesn't really make sense. So to me, Gotham is just a clusterfuck of whatever. It's not that good of a show, and neither is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is better now, but for like the first 2 seasons, it kind of, you had some good episodes, you had some bad episodes, but now that you have the Inhumans and there's more stuff in there, the show's getting more headwave, and it's a lot better show now. And then you have Preacher, which I think Preacher's a really good show. It varies from the comic a little bit, but Jackie Earle Haley in there is a really good actor. The guy who played Tony Stark in the Agent Carter show, but now on this one, is really good. The actor that plays Arseface is really good. Cassidy is really good. The show's really written well. The guy who writes the show also wrote Breaking Bad, so that's probably why I like it. I think it's a good show. A lot of good elements to it. Another good superhero show is Daredevil, of course. You have 2 seasons on Netflix, but Daredevil to me is like the best superhero show I've seen. It's gritty, it has good writing, has good character development, and you have classic characters. Because I didn't like Jessica Jones, I thought the show was fucking boring, but Daredevil, the fight scenes, everything, I thought was really, really good. And you just gotta push through and make it good. And I really think that when Daredevil does in season 3, it's going to be good as well. It's just, I think Gotham and Supergirl need something. And I'm not even going to mention Legends of Tomorrow because I've never watched a single episode because it's like fucking stupid. So those are some of the superhero type shows. It was also announced, it was just actually announced an hour ago, that Boom Comics is going to be releasing WWE comics. Now, it is a superhero show and it's comic related, so I thought I'd bring it up. But, like, WWE did comics with, I believe it was Image Comics in the 90s, or I think it was IDW. And they had like the Ultimate Warrior, they had like the Undertaker, but they were like interpretations of the characters. But I just, like, maybe they could do comics based on their WWE Immortals game, or pick certain characters, but I don't know how a comic would really work unless you do like the Wyatts or Kane, your like outlandish characters. I really don't know how they would make it into a comic book and make it really something special. Like, it was just announced today, I don't have a lot of details, but starting, I think, next month, Boom Comics is going to be making WWE comic line. And now I'm gonna talk about The Watchmen retrospective. Now, I rebought The Watchmen, the director's cut on Blu-ray, because my girlfriend's not seen it and I haven't seen it in a while. But I'm gonna take the time. Now, Zack Snyder has had a few mess-ups, but I still like The Watchmen. And here's why. It's an adult interpretation on one of the best graphic novels from the 80s. You have Horshack is an amazing character. Dr. Manhattan is another good character. The Owl is another good character. The Comedian is a really good character. And there's a lot of themes in there that you don't see in superhero movies. Racism, or people being murdered and killed because of their sexual orientation, or a superhero gone wrong with the Comedian raping another superhero, the Comedian killing innocents, murdering a pregnant woman. You have a lot of themes in there that you'll never see again. Dr. Manhattan has the ability to stop the world from destroying itself, but he doesn't want to. You also can't ignore that big giant blue penis that you keep seeing in every scene when he's walking around. But the story is really good, and it's kind of like a mystery, but they go back and they do flashbacks, and you really get a sense for the world that doesn't believe in heroes because they're vigilantes. A world in torment and peril. And the movie really makes you think and makes you wonder, how good would superheroes really be if they were in the real world? When they're up on a higher pedestal than the rest of us. Like, what really can you atone to anything? The Watchmen wasn't a completely good film, had a good ending. I thought it was the perfect length. The director's cut's a little bit longer. But you really... The Watchmen's a story you could never make a sequel to. You could only make a prequel. Because it just... The way it ends is like that. Rorschach ends up dying at the end of the movie. But it just... Even the scene where the two superheroes are having sex in like that flying owl head in their superhero costumes is freaking amazing. And one of the original members of the Watchmen ends up being the villain in the movie, but in retrospect there's two villains. So Watchmen is really worth a watch because it is a great movie. I think any superhero fan should go back and they should rewatch The Watchmen and really give it a chance. So now I'm going to talk about the final topic today is the best cartoon superhero series. Now I was trying to think about it. And do you go up straight doing good on the source material, or do you go back for a fun factor? Because there's certain shows, when I was thinking about the best superhero shows, I thought about the ones that I would go back and watch. Like, one of them is, I would always go back and watch Batman the Animated Series. I would always go back and watch Super Friends. Well, Super Friends without the Wonder Twins. And if you're not old enough to know what Super Friends is, it has the Hall of Justice, and it's Batman, Superman, The Flash, Robin, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Green Lantern was in there sometimes he wasn't. That was a really good show. So was Justice League Unlimited. But there's only 2 shows when I think of the best superhero cartoons ever made. There's only 2 of them. They're both Marvel cartoons, by the way. And one of them is Spider-Man the Animated Series that ran from 1993 to 1998. And then there would be the X-Men series, which also ran from 1993 to 1998. It was in the boom of the cartoons, but I think if I was to pick the best one, it would be X-Men. Because that show, like, I can't think of a bad episode. It really taught me and a lot of kids in the 90s, like, what X-Men was, the storylines, the Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey issues, Wolverine and Lady Deathstrike, Wolverine and Sabretooth's relationship, Juggernaut being related to Charles Xavier, Rogue, Mystique, and Nightcrawler's history. I Told You a Lie About Apocalypse, Days of Future Past. He brought in Captain America, came in later on, because Wolverine talked about Captain America. There was a lot into the show, and they released villain after villain after villain, whether it's Onslaught, or whether it was Silver Samurai, or Juggernaut, or Sabretooth, the Hellfire Club, the Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants, Apocalypse, the Dark Phoenix, Omega Red, Mr. Sinister. You really cared for these characters, and the story was well written, and the theme song is still remembered to this day. The theme song was really catchy. The character voices were really good. The powers were related well, and it brought you in. And I think because of the show, more people read the X-Men. And it had so much toys, video games, everything about it. I don't know if where you live, but here in Washington, X-Men was freaking huge. I remember people bring their X-Men toys to school because of it. I think X-Men was a really good show, and it stands the test of time. Granted, they've never released a box set, but you can get volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 through Amazon. They're like $10 a pop. I think it was a really good TV show, and to me that's the greatest superhero cartoon show ever. There's tons of other shows you could bring in there. The Adventures of Batman and Robin, Batman, the Iron Man one, Spider-Man Unlimited, which is a really good show, which is on right now. It's all your interpretation of what you consider. I consider X-Men to be great, but I also grew up in the 90s. It was a different era and a different time. And that's all I have for today. This has been Superhero Showdown. This is episode 9. And I will see you next week.